Federal government commences construction of Ebonyi Benue Nasarawa Abuja Superhighway. Development experts express concern over Nigeria's latest inflation rate. And Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu highlights gains of major reforms. Hello and welcome to the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. We're live in Abuja. I am Dennis Adegunloye. The federal government says it is on course to sustain the positive reforms in the power sector, which have led to the generation of 6,003 megawatts, the highest in the country's history. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu, who disclosed this at the 2025 ministerial press briefing, said market liquidity and reforms have birthed a positive economic outlook. He emphasized that parts of the long-term plan are to increase energy access, expand generation, promote private investments and increased renewable energy.
Reached a remarkable generation available capacity of 6,003 megawatts, marking the first time this level had been recorded in the country's history of the power sector.
The minister equally revealed that the meter gap will finally be addressed as plans have been concluded to provide 2 million meters annually in the next 5 years. Meanwhile, the federal government has kick-started the construction of superhighways across the federation to address the infrastructure deficits, particularly in road networks, identified as one of the factors stifling the needed economic growth. And in furtherance of this, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, has flagged off the 118.8-kilometer superhighway Section 1, traversing Calabar, Ebonyi, Benue, Nasarawa and the nation's capital, Abuja. Caleb Ogwonna reports.
Micro, small and medium enterprises are said to be the engine room of Nigeria's growth and progress. However, this sector has over the years been grappling with the challenges of non-access to funding, high interest rate and institutional exclusion. Minister of State for Industry John Owaneno says President Tinubu's administration has captured these challenges in various ways with a view to changing the narrative while also strengthening the Bank of Industry to drive the cause. The minister therefore charged the citizenry to take responsibility and mobilize themselves to access the funds.
For the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, government is now determined to change this narration for the better.
Nigeria, Africa's largest economy whose inherent economic potential has not been maximized due to infrastructure deficit, especially in road network. This has stifled economic growth which guarantees sustainable development. Determined to nip the menace in the bud and change the narrative, President Bola Tinubu introduced the construction of superhighways across the country, which led to this flag off for the construction of 118.8-kilometer road connecting Calabar, Ebonyi, Benue, Nasarawa states and Abuja.
The president is working for all the zones. This project here is the third legacy project of Mr. President. This project will be completed by the special grace of God.
This project is a game changer for our farmers. It means faster access to regional and national markets. For our traders, it means reduced costs of transportation. For our youth, it means employment for our local economy. It means growth. The multiplier effect of these roads is immeasurable.
For the people of Ebonyi State, the project is a significant step towards having a Nigeria that works for everyone.
Today is outstandingly remarkable for the entire Southeast zone. We have every reason
to be grateful to Mr. President.
Beyond being designed to redefine road transportation in the country, the project is poised to unlock economic potentials that transcends to increase access to healthcare, education, among others. In Abakaliki, Caleb Obunna, NTA News.
Apologies for the mix-up. It's bringing you that report at the beginning. Now, economic experts on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria have expressed concern that Nigeria's latest inflation rate indicates declining food production, a pressing economic issue that requires immediate attention. They highlighted the need for the government to address this issue promptly to prevent further economic decline. Kimini Williams has details.
Nigeria's inflation rate rose to 24.23% in March 2025, driven by increasing food prices, transportation costs, and supply chain challenges. Experts attribute this surge to factors like third-party price influence, energy shortages, insecurity, and forex volatility, thus posing a significant challenge to the Central Bank of Nigeria's efforts to stabilize the naira and check rising prices. The food inflation rate hit 21.79%, with states like Oyo, Kaduna, and Kebbi recording the highest increases at 34.41%, 31.14%, and 30.85% respectively.
We have structural challenges where it comes to food baskets areas, either in terms of the challenges of moving agricultural products. But the truth also is that in the market, you also have cartels that actually determine prices.
One of the reasons that they gave in Kaduna was insecurity. Okay, if you had insecurity reined in, Kaduna has enough land. Imagine if you had that amount of land in cultivation. And then you have a very major, water program on that stretch. So if you're looking for solutions, the first solution we need to do is not to begin to blame game. It is for us to begin to support. But we are not declaring state of emergency to indict the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. We are actually declaring that state of emergency for them to be supported.
Experts recommend addressing Nigeria's inflation rate by tackling the roots and secondary causes. They suggest subsidizing tools for food production and funding research institutions to boost efficiency.
And then the most important thing too is the issue of petrol. Fuel increase. This is the #1 factor that has caused the spreading effect of inflation all over the nation.
The cause of inflation in Nigeria, in my own evaluation, is cost of production. And when I say cost of production, supply side factors. We are talking about how to solve middle. You don't dialogue with middlemen. Boost supply. When you boost supply, you don't need middlemen again. Middlemen take advantage of inadequate supply. So when government boosts supply through many strategies, reduce interest rates, encourage production, give subsidy to farmers, subsidize their input, supply will outrage demand.
No country in the world that has conquered food security that is not subsidizing food production. Okay. Name one. None.
Additionally, they emphasize the need for mental health institutions to support those struggling with economic stress and emotional breakdown. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
Arrangements have been concluded to revive the Nigeria-Niger Joint Commission. This was when Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, embarked on a working visit to his Nigerian counterpart, Bakari Sangari, and expressed the need to set up a joint consultative forum that will bring together all relevant stakeholders to address common challenges and explore further opportunities to mutually benefit both countries. Garba Natala reports.
A one-day diplomatic engagement of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, while in Niamey, the capital of Niger, speaks volumes of Nigeria's desire in sustaining the long-standing relations with its neighbor. Tuga met his counterpart, Bakari Sangari, Minister of Foreign Affairs Cooperation and Nigerians abroad. The two ministers examined the challenges facing both countries and addressed the major current issues at the sub-regional, regional, and international levels.
And each town, each region has a corresponding region on the other side of the border. the same cultural area. So we need to take advantage of this to address a lot of our issues, and trade should continue, and security cooperation should continue. And the backbone, the fulcrum of all of this is the Nigeria-Niger Joint Commission.
Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Permanent Secretary Umar Dunama read the joint communique issued at the end of the meeting, bordering on economic cooperation, especially in operationalization of cross-border markets, trade and energy. The joint infrastructure projects along Kano, Katsina, Jibia, Maradi Railway, the construction of Trans-Haram gas pipeline, Trans-Haram subway, Trans-Haram fiber optic, bilateral air services, local bilateral committees, tariffs and taxes were all among issues streamlined.
The two ministers called upon the Ministries of Defense of both countries to continue their security cooperation.
The outcome made both parties fulfilled, with the hope of forging ahead for the Nigerian authorities now to reciprocate the visit. From Niger, I am Garba Muhammad Atala, NT News.
In the meantime, Speaker House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas has requested the European Union to scale up economic investments in Africa, moving beyond election monitoring and security training. Abbas stated this when the European Union Ambassador to Nigeria and the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, Gauthier Mignon, visited him at the National Assembly. The Speaker urged the EU to capitalize on the Trump administration's reduction of financial grants to boost investments in African countries. He pledges the National Assembly's willingness to collaborate with the European Union in all areas of endeavor. Ambassador Mignon describes Nigeria as a key and strategic partner in Africa, while advocating stronger ties between the EU Parliament and Nigeria's National Assembly. Now, in pursuit of her mission to enhance national progress through the Renewed Hope Initiative's interventions in the health sector, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has been in Ondo State to further drive her health advocacy. Her first engagement was with the Ondo State Traditional Rulers Council, where she renewed her appeal for them to throw their weight behind current efforts by her initiative to scale down the prevalence of HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, cervical cancer, as well as child and maternal mortality in the country. She equally brought them up to speed on planned interventions in other sectors, particularly empowerment for 250 people living with disabilities per state, and the Flow with Confidence program designed to promote hygiene and school attendance among female students, with the donation of 10,000 units of sanitary pads per state. Receiving the First Lady on behalf of the Chairman of the State Traditional Rulers Council, the DG of Akure, Oba Alade Toyimbo Ogunlade, appreciated the visit and offered royal prayers to the First Lady. Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, wives of state governors and other members of the Renewed Hope Initiative team accompanied the First Lady to the meeting. During her two-day working visit to the state, the First Lady will present 10,000 personal protective gears to midwives and flag off the Free to Shine triple elimination campaign for the Southwest. This is the News Desk at 3 on NTA News 24. More reports after this break. Stay with us.
Furniture Easter sales is on. Enjoy unbeatable furniture deals with up to 50% off on our luxurious Turkish sofas starting from just 2.8 million naira. Get a smart bed for only 7 million naira plus 25% off our luxury collections. That's not all. Enjoy free delivery and installation in Abuja, Lagos, Enugu, and Kano. Visit any of our showrooms or shop online to take advantage of these incredible offers.
Welcome back. The active participation of civil society organizations led by the Africa Network for Environment and Economic Justice, ANEJ, in assets recovery and management has continued to strengthen the utilization of recovered assets for the benefit of vulnerable Nigerians. This was the consensus of participants at the launch of a policy brief on the implementation of key principles in assets return and management in Nigeria. Ilyasu Aliyakubu reports.
It's one thing to recover assets looted from a given country and another to properly implement the recovered assets for the benefits of the common man. In recent years, Nigeria had the opportunity of recovering some looted assets from various countries. However, proper utilization of these recovered assets are not without some challenges. Although the active participation of civil society organizations championed by ANEJ gave it some level of transparency and accountability for the benefit of the people. This public presentation of policy brief document on the implementation of key GFR principles in asset return and management in Nigeria has 10 key principles of effective utilization of the recovered asset. Mr. Williams Robinson is from the British High Commission in Nigeria. And in his words of commendation, Nigeria is delivering on the task of proper implementation of the recovered looted assets.
Towards the delivery of public goods and services is the best way of ensuring anti-corruption efforts deliver for ordinary citizens.
I'm going to look, and I'm happy our sister is here from UNODC. They did a fantastic stop thinking about the implementation in the country. We have also looked into those reports while we were carrying out this research.
It will be recalled that the London Anti-Corruption Summit in 2016 posited that proceeds of corruption should be identified, seized, confiscated, and returned for the benefits of the people. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTA News.
By embedding social responsibility into an organization's DNA, public relations becomes a tool for authentic storytelling rather than just reputation management. This was the thrust of discussions at the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations with the topic Sinking Profit and Social Responsibility for Sustainable Public Relations Practice, which was moderated by the Executive Director Programs of the Nigerian Television Authority, Tari Taylor. Haman Jabani reports.
The dual impact of profit and social responsibility is believed to be crucial for sustainable public relations, as the future of PR lies in balancing purpose and profit, where social responsibility is not a cost but a driver of innovation and brand loyalty. While aligning goals with societal benefit, organizations can build resilient reputations. In his presentation, Adetukumbo Modupe says in the era of quick-fix hand-out budget, impulsive or ad hoc interventions without correlation with overall business profit remains only with dishonest, not to be trusted organizations. As they continue to operate on one leg of profiteering, their reputational vulnerability will age delicately. Moderating the session, Executive Director of Programs, Nigerian Television Authority, Tari Taylor, believes that to align profit and social responsibility in public service, businesses must first integrate ethical values in their core operations.
That's why we exist, to serve the Nigerian people, to inform, to educate, to entertain, to basically promote the values and the national identity for Nigerians. So even though we want to make profit, even though that is very important to us, we would never compromise on our constitutional mandate, and we would always find a path to walk so that we can navigate those two responsibilities with wisdom and in sincerity.
Some of the participants speak.
You must have reputation intact, and the more you are able to at least maintain your reputation intact, the better you'll be able to be a credible voice where people will be able to at least listen to what you said and be able to act on the government's direction. As a spokesperson, you generate information and you share that information, and the credibility of your voice dependent on the kind of reputation you have.
Everything they have complained like a pain point, we're able to deal with it earlier in Kwara, so it doesn't give us any problem. But we're taking back citizens' engagement, we're taking back to be more humane in our interaction with our constituency.
In trying to assess and get equipped with new ideas and new materials for the job is a great thing.
For PR to be truly sustainable, it must help organizations do good such that profit and purpose are not in conflict but mutually reinforcing. Haman Jabani, NTA News.
Elsewhere, Nigerian students are being advised to make deliberate efforts to ensure they benefit from the many student-related initiatives of the federal government. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Student Engagements, Sefon Dayo, gave this advice at the University of Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Kelvin Samuel reports.
The federal government of Nigeria, led by President Bola Tinubu, in its renewed hope agenda, has continued to seek ways of making life better in pursuit of easier academic advancement for Nigerian students since assumption of office. One of such is the many scholarship opportunities made available for the student through its Petroleum Technology Development Fund, PTDF, through which many Nigerian students have been able to pursue their dreams without limitations.
To be a beneficiary, the student must be a Nigerian and also studying oil and gas related subjects, geology, engineering, management, environmental studies, ICT, health and safety, and we also do a little part of law.
It has provided educational opportunities, especially through institutions like the PTDF, and it allows the oil companies to engage in corporate social responsibility to intervene in oil producing communities.
This workshop, according to the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Student Engagement, Sefon Dayo, is to enlighten students on how best to take advantage of the various available opportunities as provided for Nigerian students by the President Bola Tinubu-led administration.
The President is committed to all his promises to Nigerian students. I can say in the education sector, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has fulfilled at least 75–80%. Look at.
I believe His Excellency will be so proud and happy to hear what is happening at Akwa State today. And I'm very happy that our people, drawn from different institutions, are beneficiaries of this particular project.
We are proud to associate with any initiative that is focused on student development, national advancement, and capacity enhancement.
The workshop, which has as its theme PTDF, a tool for young people's development in Nigeria's oil and gas industry, ended with paper presentations on related topics. In Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government has approved the release of 120 billion naira to advance technical and vocational education and training in Nigeria. Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Ahmed, announced this in a message to the inauguration of a community learning center at Ikot, Abasi, Akwa Ibom State. Clement Barkui reports.
This is one of the community learning centers established by the federal government across states of the Federation. This initiative aims to empower at least 650,000 youth with technical, vocational and digital skills required to meet emerging industrial and labor needs. Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Ahmed, represented by Vice Chancellor Federal University of Technology, Ikot, Professor Leo Daniel, says President Bola Tinubu is giving technical and vocational education the needed support to build self-dependent youths.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, has approved the release of 120 billion to advance the agenda of the Ministry of Education.
Professor Simon Akpama, Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult and Non-Formal Education, describes the Community Learning Center as a beacon of hope, growth and opportunity.
The essence is for these learners to acquire extra knowledge and skills for self-improvement.
To penetrate those policies into remote communities like this is very commendable.
As a way of supporting this initiative, state governments are expected to replicate the center in all local government areas. Clement Barikui, NTA News.
Modernizing technology to enhance public broadcasting is one of the 5 pillars of the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation remains a priority, making steady progress. The Minister, Mohammed Idris, gave this assurance at the ongoing ministerial press briefing at the National Press Centre, Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Federal Executive Council members give account of stewardship as ministers within the last 2 years.
Nigerians are better informed now.
The rules of engagement did not change as the host minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, used the platform to update Nigerians about ongoing efforts to accelerate the transformation of the nation's media ecosystem.
I have only recently returned from a trip that took me, together with some of the heads of agencies, to the American National Association of Broadcasters NAB conference and workshop in Las Vegas, USA, under the theme, the technology, the trend, and the future. Following this trip also, I was in France recently for the Nigerian Business Forum hosted by the French government's Business France Enterprise. On the sidelines of those activities also, I met with the executives of United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, to further fine-tune the imminent takeoff of the first of its kind Media and Information Literacy Institute that Nigeria will be hosting here in Abuja. That institute will go a long way towards strengthening Nigeria's media environment and supporting journalists to carry out their functions even more effectively.
As the administration gets closer to its mid-term, he reaffirmed the status of the media under the Tinubu administration as powerful in the democratic evolution that is open to enjoy government support. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
And that concludes the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adegunloye.